Hello everyone, this is update for April 15, 2024, day 782 of the war, end of the date update. Gonna also catch up for April 13 and 14. I'm gonna start with general update and then I'm gonna switch to the situation on the battlefield as usually. So first is the funding of financial support for Ukraine from the US. Looks like the legislation is going to be put up for the vote by the speaker of the lower chamber of the U.S. Parliament, and most likely it will pass because there is enough support among the Democrats, and then there's probably roughly half of the Republicans, plus minus, maybe minority of Republicans, will support it, so it should pass. The only question if this legislation is going to be put up for a vote, and it does look likely. The only, I guess, maybe somewhat negative for Ukraine is that the amount of funding, it looks like it went down from 60 billion or like 60 plus to looks like 48 billion. So just to give you perspective, initially was I think roughly 100 billion, then it went down to this 65 or 60, and now it's 48. So basically it kind of like reduced uh, uh, by so basically it was halved in the process. So we'll see if that's gonna pass or not. But it does look. I'm sure there is still negotiations are going on behind the scenes, so it's all kind of still up in the air. But the chances are looks like going up that it's actually gonna get passed. But again, no guarantees. Now let's switch to the situation on the battlefield and general update with respect to the Russian military command. Uh, they organized Army Group North, so that what this really means is kind of like really northeast from Ukrainian perspective. So this really means that they now have organizational structure to actually attack Ukraine from northeast. It doesn't mean that the attack is imminent or it's going to happen in a month or so, but now there is the Russian command, military command made first step in that direction. There's many more steps needs to be made in that direction to kind of have really imminent threat, but it indicates that this is clearly on the mind of the Russian military command, and they will have that option available for them when the right time comes. But at this moment, there is no threat of the new invasion from northeastern direction towards Ukraine. And if that happens, it's more likely it's going to be much more limited operation that's really focused on capturing Kharkiv. So that could be something that's, let's say, attack towards in direction of Akhtirka, and then just basically going kind of like a little bit south in southeastern direction. And that really would allow Russian side also capture this area between the Siversky Donetsk river and this front line right now here. So this could be the plan down the road, but this is still really far away at this moment. Now, the situation along the state border remains fairly quiet. There's nothing really special going on there. Now let's jump to the North Luhansk front line. Things here also quiet. There are some kind of like pro forma attacks by Russian troops again against this village Terny, but really it's all on the lower end, and it's very clear that this is not the main area of the effort by the Russian command. Now let's move to the North Donbass front line. This is where Russian troops are fairly active, and it appears that Russian command putting some attention and effort in this northern sector, which usually was really quiet, There are a bunch of attacks here. They look all like a primitive squeeze, and obviously the immediate goal is this town Siversk here. This is the where the direction is, but so far no advances by Russian troops here, which is unusual situation because pretty much everywhere Russian troops are advancing slowly but surely forward. In the southern sector, Russian troops continuing their attacks, slowly moving forward. No new sort of breakthrough there. Another 100 meters, another 300 meters, but they slowly but surely moving forward in their plan to capture Chasiv Yar. As I stated before, the plan is basically capture this village Kalinivka first, cross this freshwater channel north of Chasiv Yar. They already buy this channel south of it and basically advance, create the pincers, and force withdrawal of Ukrainian troops, essentially. Typical standard strategy, nothing new here, and we sort of in the early stages of that happening. In terms of timing when this may happen, because I think Ukrainian command stated that this needs to be done, that the Russian side wants to do it by May 9th. I don't believe that they will be able to do that fast, and I would say that they probably learning the dates are not the most important part. It's the the modern Russian command is closer to Russian Empire than the Soviet Union. This approach about dates and is more relevant for the Soviet approach, Soviet type command versus Russian Empire type of approach does not really attempt to achieve something by certain dates. Now let's move south. Let's see what's going on the central Donbass front line. Things here also getting worse by day. The same areas of Russian attack. There's no changes, slow advances. I'll show you a little bit on the map, but nothing major. But obviously, it's just 3 days passed, and this is normal process for this area. The only sort of area where it's worth mentioning is that Russian troops attacked Krasnohorivka and they managed to capture south eastern part of this town. So again, slowly but surely they're advancing. They're advancing through Novomikhailivka. Ukrainian troops hold less than a half, I would say probably third to a quarter of the town. So basically, it's close to be lost. So I just want to mention where there are advances by Russian troops is north of Berdichi. So they advanced here, kind of creating situation a little bit sort of pressure from the flank on Ukrainian troops that are sort of in this Berdichi area. And then they obviously continuing their attacks towards Umansk. That's another major point at this point. But as I stated, no major advances and breakthrough, anything like that. Now let's move to the Zaporizhzhia front line. Things here are fairly quiet. Some light pressure by Russian troops in this Velika Novosilka area. They basically attempting to recapture what they lost in the summer of 2023. Otherwise, the rest of it is fairly quiet. Now let's move to the last section of the front line along the Dnipro River. Things here also fairly quiet. I would say there's obviously small tactical fights. There are even reports by Russian side that Ukrainian forces managed to expand this Krinky bridgehead. At the same time, it's effectively, as I mentioned before, strategically, Ukrainian forces are not in position to take advantage of this bridgehead, even though otherwise it's excellent asset and excellent opportunity. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.